Hello, dividend executives. Welcome back. Well, you probably wouldn't believe it, but we are already here for month 4 of our margin journey. Where are we at? How much margin did we use? How much margin have they charged us in terms of interest? How much money did we make when it comes to dividends on QDTE, XDTE, and RDTE? And was it worth it? Well, let's take a look. Of course, we are doing this in our dividend-only portfolio. If you've been following the series, this is month 4 of margin investing. Since we turned it on, we started buying assets. We have a lot less margin used this month, so the interest is going to be a lot less. But let's jump into the numbers and let's take a look at how our positions. First things first, full transparency here. As always, we like to come in. We like to come in here and we like to show the margins that we actually paid, right? So if we come up here to the margin, this is month 4 of the journey. We started in September. In that month, we used on average $8,632 worth of margin at 6.75% interest, paid $48.50. The following month, $89. The following month after that, $86. In that month, we used about $16,540. And then this month, we got charged $36.88. Was it worth it? We shall jump into the numbers and find out. The billing cycle on this was November 8th to December 8th. We used $7,375 worth of margin on average at a 6% interest rate. So you can see that the interest rate has come down from, what did we say, 6.75% down to 6.41. The next month, 6.25. And then this month, 6% interest. So we just got charged the margin interest. And it has come out of the account, and it's time to look at the nitty-gritty of the numbers. Was it worth it? If you're on the fence about using margin, if you're looking at using margin, if you want to invest in some of these high-yield funds, but you want to grow your account a little bit faster, but don't want to do it by taking cash out of other places, this is maybe one way to look at. So I like to just showcase a number so you don't have to, or if you're in the same boat, how it looks up stack into yours. The reason why I have invested in margin in this account is because I want to get the dividend snowball rolling even faster, and I want to do this while interest rates are coming down. We have seen, obviously, the interest rate has come from 6.75 down to 6%, and probably more often than not when you're watching this video, interest rates have come down even further. And we will see that coming into month 5 of the margin investing journey. Tomorrow, Fed Powell is supposed to be speaking, and it's a high probability that rates are going to come down even further, right? So on 12/18, depending on when you're watching this, there's a 95.4% probability that the Fed is going to drop the interest rate down another 25 bips, which would bring this down to 5.75 on the next go around, right? So that is going to be happening tomorrow. We have the FOMC press conference, the federal rate decision, and the forecast being 4.5 bips, which is 25 down from the previous. So that's where we're sitting, and that's why I'm investing in margin, because I think next year in 2025, we are just going to continue to get more cuts. And honestly, I see this coming down into the 4s. So I'm investing in that, and I am using margin to increase the dividends in my account. Again, not a whole lot, but let's take a look at where we're at as of right now. You can see here the margin total is 23,000, but that is on the cash secure put side. Margin actually uses 7,787. Now, I've talked about this number a little bit, but I want to get this number to about 10,000. And then slowly, once I get the drips to where I want them to be, I will start to decrease the position. But from last month, month over month, we've decreased it about $10,000. Some of that has come from getting rid of a little bit of clean spark in the account. We willed out of that on the covered call side of things. And then another one has been just continuously adding more capital to the account and letting our dividends pay back the margin, right? So that's a double compounding effect of adding new cash. And then every week when we get paid dividends, some of those are paying back the margin. And that is how we have decreased the margin about $10,000 over the last month. The positions that we're talking about for this are going to be XDTE, QDTE, and RDTE. Now, if you look at these positions, you can see obviously we have almost $8,000 in XDTE, $6,500 in QDTE, and $5,700 in RDTE. So what I had to do is I had to take a percentage calculation and actually get the raw numbers of how much we had to use in margin, how much we got paid, and then it gives us a better picture of where we're actually sitting at when it comes to the amount of interest we were paid or had to pay, and the amount of dividends that we received. And so we'll jump into that when we get into the spreadsheet. But first things first, all transparency, I just want to show you the positions I have here and how much these ones paid me, right? So XDTE, you can see here we have 147 shares as of right now, about 17.5% of the portfolio, average cost at $52.20, and we are up 1.74% or up $133 on our paper return here. Obviously, our total return is much higher because we received dividends. So there's XDTE. QDTE, which is on the NASDAQ 100, 149.7 shares, which if you've been following, you know that is close to our 150 share count, which we want to by the end of the year. Should be able to nail that. We are up 1.97%, $126. And RDTE, very similar picture, 131 shares, average cost of 43. We are up 1% or $57.35 on this one. On our paper returns, not including total return. Obviously, we get dividends every month. We're going to jump into that in the spreadsheet. But if you're following this journey, you enjoy the content, don't forget to drop a like. Now, let's jump into the fun stuff. So these are the positions we have. This is how much capital it took. This is where the dividends came in. But I want to jump into the nitty gritty of how much these funds have paid me, right? So over the last month, we call this period number 4. We have made $523 worth of dividends between the 3 DTE funds. Now, we can't include all of that income because we only use, this is a margin video and we're tracking the margin. We only use 7,375, right? So last month we used 16,540. This month we use 7,375. So what I did is I took the amount of capital I have in these actual positions and I prorated it based on the margin that we used, right? So percent utilized is about 39.35%. Between the 3 funds, we had $18,743 invested, and so we took a percentage of that, and that is how we calculated our dividends. So we received $523 worth of dividends over that period of time in month 4, which was November 8th to December 8th. Then we multiplied that by the percentage used, and that is how we received $205.95 worth of dividends from our actual margin position. So let's look at the numbers. What does that actually mean? Well, if you take the $205 worth of dividends received from the 3 DTE funds, you subtract the margin interest of $36.88, which you will see right here, you have a net positive of $169.07. So month 4 of the journey netted us $169.07 from the actual amount that we used on margin. Again, our rate was 6%, so that helped increase that number even more. Now you can see last month we netted about 254, the month prior to that 241, and the month prior to that 297. Now there's a lot of things that go into that. One being the interest rate that we're charged on our interest. 2 being how much margin we used. 3 being how much these funds actually paid out, right? So when there's volatility, when there's earnings, there's a whole bunch of different factors. When they have more options that are in the money, out the money, if they had to buy to close for a negative, or if they bought or if they let positions expire or close for a small debit, then the amount of payments you're going to get each and every single week is going to just change how much you make. So you can see here, obviously on these, if we just take QDT for example, right? The payments are going to fluctuate. We have 25 cents this week, 22 cents this week, 23 cents this week, and 16.5 cents that week, right? On a 12/11 payday on 12/12. So when you're receiving less payments, obviously the numbers are going to change. But on average, these ones were paying, based off these numbers, QDT 22 cents on average, XDTE 21 cents, and then RDTE 35 cents. So those are the numbers there. Let's jump down to the period so that you can see where the numbers came from. You can see period 3 highlighted there, period 4 highlighted there. So I have that in the box. If we look at RDTE over period number 4, that is where these payments came from. So RDT paid out $174, and that is based on starting with 74 shares, ending at 129 shares. XDTE paid out $169. You can see the 5 different payments there, and started at 143 shares, ended at 146 shares. These are all on full drip. I I reinvest all my dividends every single week to all three of these funds. It's especially YMX, but that is not part of the margin play. And then the last one, from 11.8 to 12.6, which is within our period, we received on QDTE $179. And that is how we came up with the 523, right? So 179 from QDT, 169 from XDTE, 174 from RDTE, and that is how we round off our month 4 of margin investing. Not too bad. Again, this is full transparency. Just want to show the numbers of somebody that is using margin to increase their position and increase the dividend snowball. So this is month 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again, the total that we have made from this margin journey is $297 on top after margin paid and after the dividends were paid out. $241 in month 2, $254 and $169 in month 4. Now, a lot of people say, and we've heard it, we've talked about it, and I know we've commented about it as well, NAV erosion, NAV erosion, NAV erosion. There is no NAV erosion. I just showed you the numbers. All of them I'm up on in the positions. Obviously, the market's been ripping, but that's just a reminder that you can get paid weekly dividends and you can also keep up the share price. So I'm up on all three in share price. And on top of that, we've earned $523 worth of dividends between the three different ones just in the last period. So this is period month 4 from November 8th to December 8th. These are the cold hard numbers and prorated obviously for the $7,375 worth of margin used. And that's a wrap for month 4. So tune in every single month. I will be posting mid-month every month how this margin series is going. Again, I'm going to continue to buy more assets. The next one on the table is going to be RDT. Tomorrow I will be giving a video out on what assets I will be buying like I do each and every single week. And of course, we're going to keep depositing into this account and reinvesting dividends. So the snowball is going to get bigger. The margin's probably going to go up a little bit. I'm okay leaving it at the $7,500 or the $7,300 mark, but I'd like to get it to the $10,000 mark just so I could have a little more leverage on my account. I have a $36,000 account. If I can do $10,000 worth of margin, then I can get it to about a $46,000 account worth of dividends. So that is the goal. But hopefully you guys appreciate the content. Hopefully you like watching this series and see where we're at 4 months into the margin journey. And hopefully it provides some value if you are using margin or thinking about margin in the future. So thanks everybody. As always, happy investing, and we'll catch you next.